Hi there, it's Matt Roloff here. This is a really interesting cameo dedicated to honor Captain Flaherty, Captain Richard Flaherty, who honestly I knew nothing about this story until I got this cameo a few days ago, and then it caught my attention, so I did some research, and in fact. It seems like there's a lot of information, some documentaries and stuff about Captain Flaherty. He was one of the shortest, or he was the shortest. I don't think it's one of. I think he was the shortest man ever in the military. He served in Vietnam. He was a Green Beret. They call him the Giant Killer because he was very effective with leading his ground troops. He was in charge of a platoon, and apparently he was quite the pistol. I mean, despite his short stature, he was very accomplished and won a bunch of medals and what have you. And so then, unfortunately, in 2015, Richard Flaherty was killed as a homeless man. So after being a war hero and leading a bunch of troops and having a bunch of really substantial accomplishments in Vietnam, he became homeless because of the post-traumatic stress disorder and what have you. And so he's living in Florida, but apparently he was very happy. I watched some of the interviews with some of the local police officers that knew him there on the streets and the store owners. And everybody loved this guy, and but he had a little mysterious side to him. But he was apparently wanted to live on the streets, from what I gather, because he was happy. I lived in Florida where the weather was warm, and anyway, so he suddenly out of the blue in 2015 got hit as a pedestrian. He got hit and killed. So that was a tragic ending because if Captain Flaherty was still with us today, I'd be wanting to meet him and learn more about him. I think he was a little quiet about some of his background because there was some stuff with he did some secret missions apparently after he got out of the military, and don't exactly know all the details. I don't want to give anything away. I want people to research this story. Richard Flaherty, and very interesting. Spelled Flaherty. Richard Flaherty, little bit older than I was. He would have been around 80 years old, or maybe a little over right now, if he was still alive. And it's unfortunate that he's not, because he has a really important place in history, and it's reasonably well documented. They found a lot of guys that served with him, and this cameo is actually presented by people that honor his memory. So all who honor Captain Flaherty and his friends. So he has a group of friends who cared enough to reach out to me. So anyway, I am honored and fascinated by this gentleman named Captain Richard Flaherty. So research him and look him up, and kudos to all you friends of his that have worked hard to keep his memory alive and worked on. I don't know if you guys are part of the Giant Killer documentary. Was fascinating, and anyway, I'm very happy to mention him and to continue to try to keep his memory alive. So. Very interesting piece of history, and I don't know why, as the president of the Little People, I never heard of him or knew him. I wish some of the folks that I know in the Little People organization were still around. I would be calling them and asking them if they had heard about this gentleman and his story, but I don't recall ever hearing about it. So the shortest man and served in the military and he got a special waiver. Anyway, I could go on and on about what I found out about this guy, but I'll leave it at this for now. So thank you, friends of Captain Flaherty. I appreciate that you guys reached out, and I hope you're successful in everything you're trying to do here. Love.